It was the worst day of my life. My former secretary Jessica had accused me of sexual harassment, and it was all over the news. My wife, my children, my colleagues, everyone was looking at me differently. Until I found those records from Jessica's past. My name is Ryan Thompson. I'm 42 years old, and I'm the CEO of a technology company called Summit Strategic Services in Chicago. I founded the company from scratch 12 years ago, starting from a small office and reaching an annual revenue of $50 million with a team of 200 people today. I met my wife, Sarah, at Northwestern University and married her 18 years ago. We have two children, Tyler, who's 16 and the assistant captain of the basketball team, and Emma, who's 14 and very talented in music. We had a beautiful house in the Northbrook area of northern Chicago. Sarah was a homemaker, but volunteered at children's hospitals. We had a perfect life. Until that day came. I met Jessica Morrison 8 months ago. She was a bright 25-year-old girl, fresh graduate from Northwestern University's business department. Her resume was impressive, 3.8 GPA, internship experiences, excellent references. After meeting with our HR manager, Brandon Kelly, we decided to hire her as a secretary. She was very successful in her first days. She organized my meetings perfectly, followed up on my emails regularly, and behaved professionally in client meetings. She also got along well with other employees, especially Tom Richards from the accounting department and marketing manager Lisa. Chin spoke highly of her. This girl is really very organized, Ryan, Brandon had said. I haven't seen such an organized secretary in a long time. But about 3 months later, Jessica's behavior began to change. She started staying in my office after work hours. Initially, I viewed the situation positively. I thought she was hardworking. One evening while I was going through paperwork in my office, Jessica knocked on the door. "Mr. Thompson, I need your help with something," she said. "Of course, Jessica, what about?" "It's actually a personal matter. I'm having problems with my boyfriend." This surprised me. "Jessica, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to help with such matters. Maybe you could talk to Brandon from HR, but you're very experienced. Your married life is very successful. Thank you, but I really can't help with personal matters." Jessica looked a bit sulky but dropped the subject. But similar situations repeated in the following days. She was constantly trying to talk about personal matters, asking questions after work hours, sometimes standing closer than necessary. I had told Sarah about this situation too. "This girl is acting a bit strange," I had said one evening at dinner. "She's constantly trying to talk about personal matters." "Maybe she's just trying to be friendly," Sarah had said. "She's a new graduate, inexperienced. But I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm trying to be very distant." Tyler had looked up and said jokingly, "Dad, maybe that girl likes you." "Tyler, don't say such things," Sarah had snapped. But Tyler's words stuck in my mind. Could Jessica's intentions really be different? In the following weeks, situations got even worse. Jessica started coming late constantly. She would arrive at 9:30, 10 o'clock for work hours that started at 9 a.m. She was also neglecting her work, being careless in client phone calls. One day, when our important client Flex Center partner, CEO Patricia Williams, called, Jessica had transferred the call incorrectly. Patricia was very angry. "Ryan, we're having serious problems with your secretary. This is a third mistake this week." Patricia had said it was time to talk to Brandon. "Brandon, there are serious problems with Jessica," I had said in his office. "What kind of problems, Ryan?" "She's constantly late, neglecting her work. We're having problems with clients. Also, she's being very, how should I put, close to me." Brandon looked worried. "Could you elaborate on this last situation?" "She's constantly trying to talk about personal matters, asking questions after work hours. It's disturbing." "Okay, Ryan, let me have a formal meeting with her. Let's give a written warning." The next day, Brandon talked to Jessica in the HR office. He gave her a formal warning about lateness, work performance, and professional behavior. Jessica was very angry when receiving the warning. "This is unfair. I'm doing my best," she had told Brandon. But after the warning, situations got even worse. Jessica was now openly moody, arguing with other employees, ignoring work discipline. One day, marketing manager Lisa Chun had complained, "Ryan, Jessica was very disrespectful to me today." When I asked her to prepare a report, she snapped back saying, "This isn't my job." The same week, accounting manager Tom Richards came with similar complaints. Jessica mixed up the invoice records. We're having problems with customer payments. I now had to make the decision to fire Jessica. Brandon and I prepared the plan. "Jessica, there are serious problems with your performance," I had said in the HR office. Brandon was also with us. "This was just a warning. I'm still learning," Jessica had said. "Unfortunately, Jessica, 3 weeks have passed since the warning, but there's no improvement. Also, you have problems with other employees. This is unfair. You're prejudiced against me. Jessica, this is entirely about work performance. Friday is your last day." Jessica had jumped up. Her face was bright red. "You'll pay for this, Mr. Thompson. You know very well why you're firing me." "Jessica, please calm down," Brandon had said. "I won't calm down. This man harassed me, and now he's firing me to silence me." I was shocked. "Jessica, what are you saying? You know very well. You constantly call me to your office and made inappropriate proposals. This is crazy, Jessica. Such a thing never happened." "We'll see about that. I'll talk to my lawyer." Jessica had slammed the door as she left the office. Brandon and I looked at each other. "Ryan, these are very serious accusations," Brandon had said. "We should talk to our legal department immediately." That evening, I told Sarah about the situation at home. Jessica said very strange things when we fired her today. "What kind of things?" "She accused me of harassment. Of course, it's nonsense, but..." Sarah looked worried. "Ryan, this is very serious. Such accusations can destroy your career." "I know. I'll talk to our lawyer Connor tomorrow." The next day, I went to Connor Williams' office. Connor had been mine and the company's lawyer for 15 years, a friend I trusted. "Connor, I'm facing a very strange situation," I said, telling him what Jessica had said. "Ryan, this is a very sensitive matter. Sexual harassment accusations can have very serious consequences. But, Connor, you know me, would I do such a thing?" "Of course not, Ryan. But in courts, what matters isn't what we think, but what the evidence shows. So what should I do?" "Stay calm for now. Maybe she just said it out of anger. But if she makes a formal complaint, we need to be prepared." 3 days passed quietly. There was no news from Jessica. Maybe she really had just said it out of anger. But on the 4th day, the nightmare began. March 15th, 2024, Monday morning. I arrived at the office at 8:30 as usual. But receptionist Kelly was looking differently. She was avoiding eye contact, acting strangely. Even Tom, the accountant I knew, hadn't greeted me in the elevator. Employees were whispering in the corridors, falling silent when they saw me. When I entered my office, Connor was already waiting. His face was grim. He had newspapers in his hand. "Ryan, please sit down. We have a very serious problem." My heart started racing. "What happened, Connor?" "Jessica Morrison gave an interview on Channel 7 last night. She's accusing you of sexual harassment." I had collapsed onto the desk. "What?" Connor opened the newspaper, not just television. There's news in the Chicago Tribune this morning, too, with the headline Technology CEO in Harassment Scandal. I started reading the newspaper. Jessica had given a tearful interview, accusing me in the harshest terms. Mr. Thompson was constantly harassing me. He would call me to his office and make inappropriate proposals. He said, "If you want to advance your career, you need to stay close to me." When I refused, he fired me. "Connor, this is insane. None of it is true." "I know, Ryan. But Jessica's lawyer, Roger Martinez, is a very aggressive name. He's already announced they'll talk to the media." "Roger Martinez? Who's that?" "A very famous lawyer, specialist in Me Too cases. He usually gets high compensations." I couldn't work it all that day. The phone kept ringing, journalists, clients, business partners. Everyone wanted explanations. At noon, local news channels repeatedly aired Jessica's interview. She was crying on television. Mr. Thompson is a very powerful man. I was just a young university graduate. When I rejected him, he said, "You won't be able to work anywhere in this city." Other women working at that company may have experienced similar situations. I encouraged him to speak up too. The last sentence really scared me. Could other female employees at the company also be affected? Brandon came urgently in the afternoon. "Ryan, we have a very serious situation. Company employees are in panic." "What do you mean?" Marketing manager Lisa is very worried. She's asking, "Are there other situations too?" Women in the accounting department are also uneasy. "Brandon, you know me. I'm not that kind of person." "I know, Ryan, but we need to reassure the employees." That evening, I didn't dare go home. Neighbors, children's friends, everyone had seen these news reports. How would I explain this to Sarah? Finally, I gathered courage and went home. My hands were shaking as I opened the garage door. Sarah was waiting at the door. Her eyes were bright red. It was obvious she had been crying. In our 18-year marriage, I had never seen her so sad. "Ryan," she said in a trembling voice, "these news reports, are they true?" My heart broke. My life partner was looking at me with suspicion. "Sarah, of course not. You know me. Would I ever do such a thing?" "I don't know, Ryan. You've been very stressed and irritable lately. You were constantly talking about Jessica." "But Sarah," "I was saying that girl was problematic. Do you remember?" Sarah started crying. "I don't know, Ryan. It's very confusing. What will the children do at school?" Tyler and Emma were also hiding in their rooms. When I opened Tyler's door, he was sitting on his bed, reading phone news. "Dad," he said sadly. The basketball coach asked questions. "What kind of questions, Tyler?" "If strange things were happening at home." I was very embarrassed, Dad. When I went to Emma's room, the situation was worse. My 14-year-old daughter was lying in bed crying. "Emma, sweetie, what happened?" "Dad, my friends are sharing these news on WhatsApp. They're saying Emma's dad is a rapist." I couldn't sleep at all that night. Sarah hadn't slept in the same bed with me. She stayed in the guest room. When I went to work the next morning, the situation had gotten even worse. Journalists were waiting in the company parking lot. "Mr. Thompson, what do you say to the accusations? Is this just the beginning? Will you resign?" Security guard Jack helped, and I entered through the back door. But the situation inside the office wasn't good either. Employees were whispering in corridors, falling silent when they saw me. Connor had called an emergency meeting. The company board would also participate. There were 6 of us in the meeting room: me, Connor, Brandon, board chairman William Hayes, CFO Margaret Foster, and general manager Patricia Kim. William spoke. "Ryan, these accusations are very serious. We have to think about the company's reputation." "William, we've been working together for 12 years. You know me?" "Of course, Ryan, I believe you. But media pressure is too much. Our clients are worried." CFO Margaret intervened. "Flexcentric Partners suspended the contract. Health Corp also expressed their concerns. What do you suggest?" I asked. William took a deep breath. "Ryan, we want you to take administrative leave until the case is resolved." I was devastated. "So you're removing me from the company?" "Temporarily, Ryan, just to calm the situation." Connor intervened. "This is a reasonable decision, Ryan. If we stay quiet and win the case, we'll return stronger." I couldn't breathe. I was being fired from the company I had worked for 12 years. As I emptied my office that day, my employees looked sadly at me. My secretary, Linda, came crying. "Mr. Thompson, I believe you. This is unfair." Marketing manager Lisa was also supportive. "Ryan, we know you. This girl is definitely lying." But these weren't consoling. As I took my security box, 200 employees' eyes were on me. While driving home, they gave news on the radio. Technology CEO Ryan Thompson was removed from his company due to sexual harassment accusations. At home, Sarah was watching television. Channel 7 was giving special news. Jessica had given another interview. Mr. Thompson's removal from the company is the right decision, but this isn't enough. Justice must prevail. Sarah turned off the television. She looked at me. Ryan, are you really innocent? This question broke the last piece in my heart. Sarah, we've been married for 18 years. Have I ever lied to you? No, but this is very serious, Ryan. Why would this girl lie? I don't know, Sarah, but I swear I'm innocent. Sarah started crying. The children are being bullied at school, Ryan. Tyler fought today. What? Children on the basketball team mocked him, saying your father is a harasser. Tyler got angry and punched one of them. Emma was also called to the principal's office. Her classmates had called her Harrisser's daughter. The first week was hell. I couldn't leave the house. Neighbors were looking through windows, pointing at me when I drove around the neighborhood. When I went to the supermarket, I heard whispers. That's him, the man from the news. So disgusting, he attacked young girls. I wonder why his wife doesn't leave him. Connor constantly called to update the situation. Ryan, Jessica's lawyer Roger Martinez, is continuing the media campaign. He announced he'll ask for $5 million in damages. $5 million. He'll also file a criminal case. You're facing prison, Ryan. I couldn't sleep at all that night. Prison? What would my family do? The second week brought worse news. Jessica had given an interview on national television on CNN. She was talking about the hashtag #MeToo movement, getting support from women's rights advocates. The hashtag Justice for Jessica had gone viral on Twitter. Thousands of women were writing support messages to Jessica. Feminist groups had demonstrated in front of the company. They were chanting Ryan Thompson to prison. Under such media pressure, Sarah's endurance was exhausted. The children's school principal had called, saying it would be better for the children to stay home for a while until the situation calms down. Sarah had started meeting with lawyer Linda Peterson. She was a divorce specialist. Ryan, I have to think about what's best for the children, Sarah had said one evening. Sarah, please. I'm innocent. I don't know Ryan. So many people, so much media. Maybe you really did something and don't remember. Sarah, don't you know me? I thought I knew you for 18 years. But maybe I was wrong. These words finished me. Even my life partner didn't believe me. The third week was rock bottom. I had collapsed psychologically. I couldn't leave the house, couldn't eat. I had lost 15 kilos. Tyler came sadly. Dad, I was removed from the basketball team. The coach said, we're waiting for the situation to calm down. Emma was also removed from the school choir performance. The assistant principal had said, your family isn't suitable. That night, I even thought about suicide. Maybe if I died, my family would be at peace. But Connor's phone call changed everything. Ryan, there's a very important development. I talked to Private Detective Jeremy Collins. He started investigating Jessica's past. Private Detective? Jeremy is an experienced ex-police officer. He specializes in these types of cases. He says there's something strange about this girl. The next day, Jeremy Collins came to my house. He was a reliable-looking man in his 50s. Mr. Thompson, I've been doing this job for 25 years. In sexual harassment cases, there are usually hidden motives. What do you mean? I'm going to closely examine Jessica Morrison's life, her past, relationships, financial situation, everything. How much does it cost? $500 per day plus expenses. But if you're innocent, we'll definitely find something. It was a ray of hope. Start, Jeremy. Jeremy immediately got to work. He began investigating Jessica's former workplaces, university friends, neighbors. A week later, he came with the first findings. Ryan, I found very interesting things. Jessica Morrison worked at Pearson Amp, associates law firm in Atlanta, in 2019. And there, too, she accused her manager of harassment. My heart started beating fast. Are you serious? That case also got big media coverage. But after 3 months, Jessica withdrew the accusations. Why? I'm investigating that. But there's something even more interesting. Jessica's current boyfriend, Marcus Webb. What's his problem? Marcus Webb is a professional scammer. Ryan. He's been in prison twice for financial crimes. This information was hopeful, but not enough. Jeremy deepened his investigation. 2 weeks later, he came again with files in his hands. Ryan, Jessica's past is very dark. She's made similar accusations at 3 different companies in the last 5 years. 3 different companies? Digital Solutions Company in Miami in 2018. Pearson Amp Associates in Atlanta in 2019. Mountain Tech Company in Denver in 2020. Did she accuse harassment in all of them? Exactly. And in all of them, she withdrew at the last minute. But each time she received compensation. How much compensation? $75,000 from Digital Solutions, $120,000 from Pearson Amp Associates, $200,000 from Mountain Tech. The picture was now becoming clear. Jessica was a professional scammer. There's even better, Ryan. Jeremy said opening his phone. I accessed Jessica and Marcus's WhatsApp messages. How did you do that? Don't ask about technical details, but you need to read the messages. He showed the messages on his phone. Marcus. Jessica, how much can we get from Thompson? Jessica, my lawyer says $5 million. With media pressure, he'll settle for $2 to $3 million. Marcus. Perfect baby. Easier than Atlanta. Jessica, men are so stupid. When you cry a little, everyone believes faced with tears of joy. Marcus. Will you do it like Denver? Jessica. Exactly. First media, then court, then settlement. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My hands were shaking. Jeremy continued. There's worse, Ryan. I examined Jessica's phone records. What did you find? There are no private conversations with you. The dates she claims are also completely false. How so? Jessica says you harassed her on February 15th. That day you were in Denver, client visit. There are records. What about March 3rd? That day, Jessica got a sick report. She was at home. You were at the office, but she wasn't there. What about March 10th? That's the funniest. Jessica was in Miami that day on vacation with her boyfriend. There are photos on Instagram. I now had bombshell evidence. I immediately called Connor. When I went to his office, he was very excited. Ryan, this is incredible. We have evidence the other side doesn't know about. Shouldn't we immediately submit to court? No, Ryan, we need to be careful. Jessica hasn't filed an official lawsuit yet. What do you mean? Right now, there are only accusations in the media. If we show our evidence too early, they might delete the WhatsApp messages. So what will we do? We'll wait until Jessica files an official lawsuit. Then we'll explode like a bomb. Jeremy continued to do additional research. He also learned what happened in Jessica's Atlanta case. Ryan, I learned about the situation at Pearson Amp Associates. Jessica used the same scenario there too. What happened in the end? The company's private detective discovered Jessica's lies, but the company made a settlement because they didn't want a scandal. How much did they pay? $120,000. In return, Jessica withdrew the accusations and signed a confidentiality agreement. So the company knew she was innocent but paid money? Exactly, because they were afraid of media scandal. This information was very similar to my situation. Jessica knew the system's weakness very well. During this process, my home life also slowly began to improve. I had shown Sarah all the evidence. Ryan, I'm very sorry for not believing you. Sarah, I would have been suspicious too if I were in your place. But you're my husband. I should have trusted you. My children also relaxed after learning the truth. Tyler, Dad, I always knew you were innocent. Emma, now I'll tell my friends the truth. 6 weeks later, Jessica finally filed an official lawsuit. Sexual harassment and compensation case began in Cook County Court. When the court process began, we had bombshell evidence, but Connor's strategy required waiting. In the first hearing, Jessica testified tearfully. The jury was moved. The media also continued to make news in Jessica's favor. Jessica's lawyer, Roger Martinez, was very aggressive. Jessica Morrison was a young, innocent university graduate. Ryan Thompson was a powerful, wealthy CEO. He abused his power. The jury was moved. I was very worried. But in the second hearing, Connor began presenting evidence. Honorable jury, you have a professional scammer before you. Jessica Morrison has made the same accusations at 4 different companies in the last 5 years. Roger Martinez objected. Your Honor, past cases are irrelevant to this case. But Judge Joseph Wheeler was experienced. Objection overruled. Past cases are relevant to character. Connor told Jessica's past cases one by one. Digital Solutions in Miami, Pierce and Amp, Associates in Atlanta, Mountain Tech in Denver. The jury began to be surprised. In the third hearing, the bomb came. Connor presented the WhatsApp messages. Honorable jury, listen to these messages. When Marcus and Jessica's conversations were read, there was silence in the courtroom. How much can we get from Thompson? Men are so stupid. When you cry a little, everyone believes. Jessica's face had turned pale. Her lawyer, Roger Martinez, panicked. Your Honor, it's unclear how these messages were obtained. Judge Wheeler, Jeremy Collins will explain. Jeremy took the witness stand and explained the technical details. The messages had been obtained through legal means. In the fourth hearing, GPS records were presented. It was confirmed that Jessica was in completely different places on the date she claimed. Connor, on February 15th, according to Jessica, my client harassed her. But Mr. Thompson was in Denver that day. The evidence is here. Jessica's defense had completely collapsed. In the fifth hearing, Jeremy gave detailed testimony. He explained Jessica's past cases, Marcus Webb's criminal history, this couple's fraud history. Roger Martinez tried to make emotional speeches as a last resort. Jessica Morrison is a victim. Powerful men are trying to silence her. But it wasn't working anymore. The jury had seen the truth. In the sixth hearing, the jury delivered their verdict. Jury spokesperson, Jessica Morrison's accusations are completely baseless. Ryan Thompson is innocent. Applause broke out in the courtroom. Sarah and my children hugged me crying. My 4-month nightmare was over. But Judge Wheeler continued. Furthermore, Jessica Morrison and Marcus Webb are being referred for criminal prosecution for intentional defamation, fraud, and misleading the court. Jessica Morrison will pay Ryan Thompson $2 million in moral damages. The media now started writing the truth. False harassment accusation exposed. Jessica Morrison turns out to be professional scammer. Ryan Thompson was completely innocent. The hashtag Justice for Jessica turned into hashtag Justice for Ryan. I received thousands of apology messages on social media. When I returned to the company, my employees gave me a standing ovation. The board formally apologized. William Hayes. Ryan, we apologize for what was done to you during this process. We'll make it right. Jessica's criminal case was also quickly concluded. She received a 3-year prison sentence. Marcus Webb was sentenced to 5 years. 6 months later, Summit Strategic Services received its biggest contract, a $100 million federal project. Today, my family and I are happy. This process made us even stronger. Justice found its place, even if late. Jessica Morrison is still in prison. I hope she realizes what she did. And remember, the truth always comes out.